up. What did I eat that I can still taste?
That is quesadilla, my friend.
Look at this. Pampa has got a really crazy, awesome, thriving scene there.
It looks
guys
to
like
be that
Oddfellas,
way.
guys like Oddfellas, Special Case. There's a couple of metal bands there, and they've got such a fucking great scene. Just because it's the reason it's so good is because it's so grassroots, and everybody supports them.
Yeah, and from what I saw,
And Oddfellas is a fucking great band. They're a killer band. I feel bad that I'm going to get that podcast fixed, and I'm going to get it out. And they've, that was 3 bass players. Those guys go through bass players like, I go through socks.
Yeah.
I can't remember that kid's name, but that was an iteration of the band. Yeah, man, Jam House, super cool.
Yeah, I love to get out there and play. Like I said, I saw the footage from the Oddfellas and the Native
I don't know why they
Crowd
don't do more
show,
shows because they're
and
not.
It looked like that place was. It looked like the place to be playing.
They are, and it's and that place isn't regulated by TABC. It's not a bar, so they could probably do more shows.
And the crowd, I looked at the crowd. It looked like some younger people.
Yeah.
Like not necessarily,
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love it, man. And I'm starting to think, man, that might kind of be one of the ways to go, man, because playing in the bars and all that shit, that's our scene with those, and we kind of like doing that, but I feel like it's like, particularly like with Dude Man and Dude Dashman, a lot of that music's got energy for the younger kids who want to go in there and really get wild.
You're kind of an old
crazy
fuck, so
shit.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you look probably exactly the same as you did 20 years ago, unlike myself. But
well,
don't make me say it. Don't make me say it.
It don't crack.
Ah, God, I'm not saying that.
Until you start smoking crack.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of been like my observation.
Yeah.
It's fine, and it won't crack until you start smoking crack.
Yeah.
And then
I don't think crack's a thing anymore. Is that still a thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is it?
You get in the right spots. I mean, the hood's still the hood. The ghetto is still the ghetto.
I've got this crazy fucking.
The trailer parks are still the trailer parks. Whatever was going on in those places before is still going on in those places.
So crack was, that was like an epidemic for the black community for a long time.
Yeah.
And now the fucking meth heads, that's the white people. The meth is white people crack.
Yeah. That's kind of.
And it's a lot more bathtub.
Well, it is not. It doesn't have the same sort of lineage like the story when you look at cocaine and where it's being filtered to, and certain things that are allowed to happen. Certain things that may or may not, I'll say that, be allowed to happen to a community, especially when that community is more than willing to do it to themselves. You know? I think you see the same thing in Chicago, man. I don't know if you keep up with what's going on in South Chicago. That shit's just downright scary, man. And it's like blocks and blocks and blocks of area where it's just kind of just war zone,
Yeah.
And
Jesus. I've been to Chicago once in my life. It was 2007 or something like that for a job. And it's just so fucking big, man.
That's the thing.
The area is so fucking big, man, and I've never seen anything that massive. Been in New York. New York is a trip because it's big, but it's dense. Everything's tall. Like when you step out of Penn Station and you look out and like everything's so tall, and you're walking around in there, and like you start getting a weird type of reverse vertigo because you're just surrounded by things that are just so massive.
Yeah.
Like Amarillo's, the town of the hard-on. We've got one tall building, but like New York, everything's that tall, and it's just it throws you off, man.
Living here has been a reminder how careless I was with my life when I was in Austin.
No shit.
Yeah, man, because you gotta think, I got a lot of people in my life who've lost their lives behind shit in the streets, stuff like that. And there's been a lot of times where I've just been out there very wild, living very wild, doing this and that. And you end up in some situations when you're away from him. You be like, man, how did those dude die? Oh, he died. He was over here doing this and that. And I was like, man, I used to do that sort of shit all the time. Being on projects, dipping in and out of there all the time, doing this sort of stuff. And being here in a town that's probably like a little under $250,000, maybe.
Yeah, it's about 200,000.
200,000 versus being a city with over 1 million.
Yeah.
And at any given time, South by and all this, now you talking about 100, 200,000 flooding in the town. It's like the same amount of people here flooding into town. It's like, man, when you get that many people in one area, life becomes very fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, Austin when I was a kid in like the 90s, Austin had like 500,000 almost. Families still knew each other and shit, you know, it was like that. And then with the onslaught of South by and ACL, now the city's up over 1 million. It's like, man, anytime you turn on the news, there's multiple murders all in your neighborhood. It's like shit every day. And like people don't understand that, man. When the city gets to a certain point and it gets so big, now you got a lot of different elements that you gotta factor in that you didn't have to before. Like if something happens here, the town can or the city can get on top of it.
We're kind of sheltered here, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, Amarillo is,
Houston and Dallas, man, people don't understand just how dangerous it is to live in some of these places, man. So dudes, even in my neighborhood before I moved down here, a dude woke up one morning and decided he's just gonna start robbing everybody in the neighborhood. He's gonna kill everyone he robbed. And people wake up with that mentality. And you got a lot of drugs and you got a lot of shit going on, man. So I'm glad. I'm kind of glad to be here, man. I'm glad I moved here because I feel like this was gonna be my opportunity to actually be with a group of people and bond with a group of people and actually do what I wanted to do, which was make music. Austin, that shit's hard to do, man. It's a lot of working parts. It's a lot of different personalities. People are flooding in there from other states.
Yeah.
And, it's hard to find an identity there because it's a town, it's a city, there's no identity.
So, one of the things that's happening right now, there's a lot of celebrities that are flocking from fucking California to Austin.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's one of them. Rogan, there's people that are bailing out of California. I don't know, it's not because of the fires.
West bought a penthouse.
Yeah.
Down there when they started building all that stuff up downtown. Downtown looks so weird now. When I was a kid, downtown was dead. It's like, man, all that shit was run down, abandoned buildings. Nothing was going on there. It had its heyday, I guess, in the 60s or whatever. Mm-hmm. And even with me as a kid, back then, blacks didn't really go across 35. Blacks didn't really go across 35, east side right there.
Right.
Didn't really cross over 35 into downtown. That's a relatively new thing for downtown 6th Street to be as integrated as it is. Because...
Wow, that's fucking crazy.
It's very true. It's like blacks didn't go across 35 and whites in general didn't go across 35 unless they were looking for shit, drugs and shit like that. That's kind of like how it was back then. But then with the onslaught of ACL and South by and the music scene blowing up, then that's why you see the East Side being gentrified now. That was an area that was a very different area when I was a kid, So
gentrification is a funny thing because they say that you got to
product of the city growing and shit,
Yeah. What a funny world we live in. We're just fucking complex carpenter ants, man. We're carpenter ants with the ability to refine plutonium.
Yeah, it's been a crazy thing the way that thing panned out, but look, I guess the cool thing too. The first time I came down was 2014. I came to visit, and one of the first people I saw Michael Blackwell.
Yeah.
And his friend Clark. I think his friend's name Clark. They were performing at some bar, just singing a few songs or whatever.
Ooh.
I didn't see Blackwell again until I moved here, 2018. And I was like, man, I remember you, man. I saw you in like 2014. You were singing with this guy and all that shit. He was like, yeah. And then ended up starting a band with him. And I hadn't even been here a couple months. This has been a great place, and I think that's one thing that I cannot stress enough. Is the thing that always impressed me about the music scene here. So I know it's got its down points sometimes and its up times, but there's a lot of musicians here, and they all know each other.
It's tight-knit scene, you know.
Yeah, dude, and that sort of shit in Austin. There's just so much shit going on. It's very hard to get anything really authentic and meaningful going.
Austin is viciously competitive.
A great place to do it.
Yeah.
And you could build this scene, and then I think that's what it's about in a town like this. Building the scene, and if you go on to just be the biggest thing to ever come from it, fine. But if you lay the groundwork and you become like a godfather of the scene, that's great too, you know?
Yeah.
Or to, you know, so.
Austin's viciously competitive. Where I feel like, and I hope this is the case, Amarillo, seeing everyone's trying to lift each other up. I may not be into the style of music that a lot of my friends are playing, but that's where their heart lies, and so you know we try to support it, and just try to build it all up. Because you know, every genre of music is the voice of that band's people. You know, cultural telling. Music is passed through as cultural storytelling. Hip hop and rap, huge in that, because that tells the story of that hood, that ghetto, that neighborhood, that city, whatever. That is how they tell their story. Rock and roll, same thing. With every genre, country, same thing. You know, 3 chords and the truth.
Yeah.
You know, punk rock, also 3 chords and the truth. You know, when being in this business as long as I have been, and seeing the similarities, you know, if you've got just this bourgeois mentality towards music, and you think all country is bullshit, or you think all metal is bullshit, or you think all one genre is bullshit, you have to, I don't know, man, it's pretty small-minded, you know. And yet there are those people that say, oh, well, I listen to everything. Well, what do you listen to mostly? You know, I mean, there's a couple of sides to every coin, but really, everyone is just trying to tell a story. So of some kind, you're trying to eviscerate feelings or create this musical flower and watch it grow. I mean, there's a lot of things.
Everybody comes into it a bit differently. Like even,
absolutely.
Like I remember one time someone told me I was maybe about 15 or 16. About like 16 or so, and I got called a poser.
No shit.
Yeah, I got called a poser because I didn't really. It's like, you don't really know Stone Temple Pilots. You don't really know Pearl Jam. You know, I'm like, I don't. It's like I'm from a predominantly black and Hispanic neighborhood.
Right.
I didn't have people around me like, hey man, listen to this new Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
Who the fuck said that to you? Said it to you because you were black. They said that because they think that you have to listen to fucking soul and hip hop and rap.
Yeah,
that's all you're supposed to listen to.
Well, that's a part of it, I think.
Yeah,
but
dude.
I think the other part of it,
that's closed-mindedness on their end. That's fucking bullshit.
I think the other part of it too is, well, the part of it is kind of you want to box me in for one, but another part of it too is, I don't know, maybe it's just being caught off guard by the. Well, or not that, because I'm not as knowledgeable of it. But the thing about it is this. It's like, man, it's one thing for you to say something about this because all of your friends and your big brothers and all their friends and shit, you've been nurtured into that. Yeah. Like for me to listen to Nirvana, it's like I didn't have friends around me who I could say, hey, man, this song Smells Like Teen Spirit is pretty cool. I like this. I did not have people around me like that. And they would not have responded to me like that. So for me, that was something I had to get into entirely by myself, my own. And I didn't have, people to
And
nurture that.
That fucking takes balls, man. To step outside of this expected paradigm of music. Everyone,
assume that I should only like rap. I should only like R&B. I should only like blues. People assume, like one of my grandmothers assumes, was like, do you play the blues? I can play the blues, but you don't hear me play the blues hardly. You've never seen me up on stage playing blues because a part of me is like, I'm just not even into. I love blues. I'm just not into that like that, and I feel like people almost expect me to do that as a black guitar player. Maybe you might expect me to play blues.
The funny thing
when
about
I play
that,
rock songs and shit, people are like, "Oh shit, what the fuck is this? It's cool."
Think about every genre steals from other genres. True. Fucking Elvis Presley, one of the worst ones. See, he stole from black music from the fucking 50s. Stole it, made it his own. White people jumped onto it. You think about guys like Eminem. Eminem jumped into what was a predominantly, a black style music, hip or rap, and he
There's
fucking
been this
slaughtered
talk
it.
about it being like people. They've been kind of. I think Lord Jamar and a lot of these dudes been talking about Eminem like, oh, he's a guest in the house of hip hop. And the cool thing about it is Eminem kind of acquiesced. He's like, I guess I am kind of a guest.
Yeah.
He's a great MC.
Absolutely.
And maybe he is a guest. For me, I guess I'm not as attached. I am kind of attached to the whole thing because when you start looking at like Chuck Berry,
Chuck
and that
fucking
sound,
Berry, Little Richard.
you
Think
start
about
looking
Little
at
Richard,
that sound,
dude.
Bo Diddley, and these people, and like, don't get me wrong, I love Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I love Zeppelin. But if not for Willie Dixon,
Jesus Christ,
Led
they stole
Zeppelin
so
1,
much shit.
If not for Willie Dixon, Led Zeppelin 1 is not what it is because now you don't have You Shook Me, you don't have I Can't Quit You, a lot of that. But the thing about it is, at the same time, with me being more like into rock and stuff like that, if I'm gonna listen to the blues, more often than not, I do want to listen to Led Zeppelin's version of it over Willie Dixon's version. I do want to listen to Led Zeppelin sing Traveling Riverside Blues over Robert Johnson. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Robert Johnson. I love his version.
Yeah.
But I like loud fucking music with banging drums and thick, drenched out riffs. And that's what Zeppelin is. That's what Cream was. So
Birds, man. All those
I
guys,
love that shit too. But at the same time, too, with me, I had that situation happen, but the thing is, I didn't come up into this like that. I didn't have people nurturing me, saying, "Oh, go play guitar." That's shit that I had to kind of do. And even now, people still look at me like, kind of like, who know me. It's like, the fuck you doing? It's like, but it is one of those things. It's like, that's the road I've taken. That's what I've done.
But that's
and I'm
the
having
beauty,
fun doing it, and people are enjoying it.
Beauty of fucking music is that it's transcending those fucking premeditated borders that people have in their small minds. Those guys like fucking Hootie and the Blowfish. Jesus Christ. Hootie, I can't even remember. What the hell is his name?
Darius Rucker.
Darius Rucker.
He's killing it in the country scene.
Fuck yeah,
dude.
man. And that guy, he stepped so fucking far out of what people's expected norm was. I don't personally dig his stuff, but I appreciate the fact that he was so fucking brave and putting it out there that was punk rock. Just from fucking just.
You know what I really like about him? This is kind of like a thing that epiphany is coming to me now. But I remember when I was a kid, my grandfather used to tell me shit before I could ever drive, to be aware of and what to do if I was ever pulled over by the police.
No shit.
This was back in the early mid-90s and shit. And later on, he'd be like, you remember when I used to tell you could turn your dome lights on, do this, do that, same shit he would tell me.
Yeah.
He's like, you see why I was telling you that stuff? I'm like, yeah, I understand now. And that was my grandpa. Even the time he was telling me that this man is already in his 50s and shit. It's like, I don't know. It's just a weird thing.
Weird thing.
And then Darius Rucker is on a program on TV. And he's one of those figures. He's gonna stand in an odd place because he's that's just a scene that's where he's made his bones at, kinda. And so artists like that, you don't know where they sit in the black community necessarily. Right. But to see him on TV, and they asked him about this whole thing that's been going on, how he felt about it, and he was like, yeah, man, I even tell my kids now, if you get pulled over, yada yada, and he was saying the same shit that my grandpa told me then, as a black musician who's had a lot of his success with white audiences.
Dude,
Two very different people saying the same shit, and that was weird to me. It made me look at him with a little bit more respect. Like, he still understands.
You know the saving grace
Life,
of a lot of this shit is you think about. Have you watched Lovecraft Country at all?
No, I already know where you're about to go, though.
But so these motherfuckers right here,
I know
every
you're about to
motherfucker
go.
on the street has a fucking cell phone. Cops have been using. Think about of all the stuff that we've been dealing with.
Shit's not new.
Shit's not new, but cops have been using cameras against the public since the fucking 70s. They've been using them to implicate people, and they've manipulated the footage and all this other stuff. So now the fucking tables have turned. Where like everybody's accountable. Everybody's got a fucking high definition camera on them now, and thank God for it. That's a weird piece of technology. It's a weird thing to take, because it holds every aspect.
It's doing good things, but it's doing bad things.
It's absolutely doing that thing. The deep. Have you seen
nothing
some of
more terrifying than these? And it's a part of this thing. What I was going about with Chicago, a lot of the rappers and a lot of people in the music scene, it's like they go live on something, and they get killed live because their location's been given up. Because like I've been noticing lately, this is a fucking situation that really needs to be, I don't know, looked at. These young rappers and shit, they're kind of coming up in the game, and they're making a little bit of money, but they're still very heavily associated with the streets, still very heavily associated with gangs and stuff like that. And they'll go live, and someone watching that live sees something that they recognize around there, and they send shooters after
fucking
them.
Tekashi 6ix9ine, that fucking kid, that little snitch.
Yeah,
that guy's had to move like 10 times because he can't shut the fuck up, and he always posts
He was on
something.
there talking about some of the rappers who have been killed like that, because that's how this young rapper Pop Smoke just got killed in California.
No shit.
He's I guess he went shopping. He's posting, and they saw that address in a live.
Oh yeah.
And he got killed in Calabasas, man.
No shit.
Yeah. FBG Duck, a young rapper out of Chicago, just got killed live. Got killed in broad daylight in Gold Coast.
That tells you something, kids. Turn your
careful
location
with
off
that
on your
shit.
fucking phone unless you need it for navigation.
Especially
Learn how
if
to
you're
edit.
like some kind of like, if you're not living right. If you're not living right, man, shit, yeah, you need to do
turn
that.
your location off. Learn how to edit ID tags. Learn how to edit EXIF data, EXIF. Google that shit. Learn how to kill that data because it can either implicate you or it can save you. Also, upload your shit to a cloud and encrypt that thing and don't tell anybody the fucking password.
It sucks that it's gotta be like that. I hate that, man, but I don't know. I've just been kind of following this stuff, and it's bad, man. Chicago, St. Louis, Detroit, even Dallas. It's just happening.
Dallas,
recently.
yeah.
Like
Houston's bad right now.
Yeah, it's like it's a terrible time.
Fucking Portland. Have you seen all the shit that's going on in Portland?
Like oh man, yeah.
Portland's
That's
insane
crazy
right
because
now.
I always thought to myself, it's like, dude, it'd be so cool to move to Portland and play some music out there, and in Seattle and all these places.
The
Shit, man, it's pretty rough out there right now.
There's a real strong left wing in Portland, obviously, and things have gotten so off the rails there. The SJWs, the PC left, and don't get me wrong, I am what you call left of center. I get it, but culturally speaking, they take that shit way too far, and they've got these violent military factions. If you even appear even the slightest bit conservative, they fucking go after you. And I'm one of the worst ones to fucking rail against these conservative assholes here. But so I get it. But on the same token, man, there's a strange cultural shift going on there, and Portland's fucking dangerous.
My thing with that, Cause I'm still very much like a '90s sort of '80s. You know, I grew up in the '80s and '90s and shit as a young kid, and some part of me is still very much tied to that. But also, I did not grow up. I didn't grow up pampered. I didn't grow up like coddled and shit like that. And Dave Chappelle makes a joke about it. He makes a joke about it when he's just talking about the LBGQT community and African Americans and like the civil rights movement. He says one thing, and I'm not speaking to that community or African Americans. He says one thing in defense of African Americans civil rights movement, and I'm just gonna take that one thing. That's the only thing that I mean by this. He says, "Since when has anyone given a fuck about how we feel?"
Yeah.
Now, for me, just taking that, now take all the other stuff out of the equation, just taking that, I kind of live by that. Since when has anyone given a fuck about how I feel?
Yeah.
And I think it at least hardens me enough to be able to get through this shit as a kind and considerate person. Sometimes being considerate is stepping off of how you feel and saying, man, no one really gives a fuck about how I feel. And it's not really that people don't give a fuck about how you feel, but we're falling into a culture where you are making people care about how you feel.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not okay. That's not okay.
You're trying to drive your opinions down somebody's throat.
And for me, I'm sitting back like, man, since when has anyone given a fuck about how I feel?
Right.
And that, at the very least, keeps me from being a dick to other people, because it's like, at least I'm not putting it on you. And people will put everything on you. They'll put how they feel today on you. They put how they feel about this issue. How you feel about this issue.
They'll start fucking asking you why you feel you do, and then sometimes they don't even ask
That's
why you
the
feel.
Culture.
They just fucking assault you for how you feel. You're not supposed to feel like that.
And that's the culture.
Yeah.
I'm not with that. I'm gonna still do I'm gonna do,
because what it does is it invalidates their it cancels their psychological validation, or makes their psychological validation seem somewhat invalid. They don't like feeling invalid about the things that make them feel good about themselves.
From an existential standpoint, when you look at the amount of time that we have here on this planet, and where we stand as individuals and where we stand collectively, when we devolve, in my opinion, to the point where the first thing you do is dedicate all your wherewithal, you invest all your wherewithal into how someone feels in the moment. You drop everything to deal with how someone feels in the moment. A part of me, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. And I feel like that's crippling. It's crippling to the people who it's not them, but it's crippling to the person. There is a person. Think about when you got a baby. Every time that baby cries for something, you go coddle that baby.
Yeah.
And that baby, these babies are smart. People are smart. Start to realize, I can use this. I can do this. I can move the narrative in such a way where at the end, even if it's not now, at the end, I'll still get what I want.
Yeah.
You see how that's fucking just affected?
But babies are instinctual. So when you're going off of straight instincts, they say that life itself, I don't know who they are, that life itself is narcissistic, in the point that life only cares about promoting life in whatever form it wants to promulgate itself. You want to keep life going, and life is completely amoral, and so it drives whatever its own motivations are. So a baby is going to be, it's going to drive its own needs, and if it finds out if it can manipulate a situation, it's going to do that. Jesus Christ, man. There's think about like going to a strip club. A strip club. There's two things going on there. There's there's your dancer, and she's there for monetary reasons. It's an easy not yeah. Let me rephrase that because I don't want to get pinned to that. It's not an easy form of income. It's very hard to do. As best as
there's a lot that goes along with that.
There's a lot that goes along with that.
Especially think big city living, man. It's dangerous for dancers and shit too.
You know? But without a crazy education, or even with a crazy education, you can. It turns out you can make a really good living doing that by manipulating the weakness, that invalid archetype that comes in the door to support that sort of thing. So that is you're taking these fragile egos, these lonely fuckers, these guys. They come in and they've got a lot of $1 bills, and you'll give them something they need psychologically, whatever. They're going to go home and do whatever they want with those thoughts. But on the other side of that, there's another type of manipulation where those guys come in like, well, you know what? My life sucks. I'm a piece of shit, but I can take a little bit of money over there and make this girl do what I want.
Yeah.
Make her look how I want her to look. And so there's the balance of manipulation in a system like that. It boils down to life promoting itself and psychological validation. Psychological validation. I think Jung was wrong, and I think Freud was wrong, and I think all of those guys. I think everything boils down to feeling validated. Gold star banana stickers, man. That is what everyone is just trying. They just want to feel okay about being who they are.
It's hard to even respond. It's
the simplest thing, and yet it's not, because it's so fucking complicated. The messes we get ourselves involved in to just get that. When you think about your little kid and you turn in a paper, and teacher puts a fucking gold star on it. Well, fucking A, that is mental masturbation right there. That makes you feel awesome. I feel validated. I feel like, okay, what I did was good. Even if what you did wasn't good. There's so many tiers to it. There's so many levels to it. And yet, like a dog. Think about a dog. A dog is completely different. A dog has no psychological validation. A dog is a creature that, if it is a trained and it's a loyal animal, the only thing that dog wants to do is love you.
Yeah.
That's all that dog wants to do. And someone that has a dog, that may be their psychological validation. Is, everybody fucking hates me, my life is dog shit. There's a lot of serial killers that had pets, and those pets.
There's a lot of people who I see sometimes online. I don't know. I don't even know if I really want to speak on this. I don't want to alienate people or alienate myself. But have you seen that some people, like, they seem to care more about animals and their pets than human beings?
So there's two sides.
Don't get me wrong.
You're right.
Don't get me wrong. Pets are great. I have. You've met Bimo.
Yeah, Bimo's awesome.
Bimo's a fucking great dog. I love him. That's my son. Written songs about this motherfucker. He's on our merch, you know? But if I'm going to be honest, if they're like, man, who's it going to be, Thule or Bimo?
Yeah.
I'm not.
So you're team people, for the most part.
If put in a situation like that, it's like, I'm not going to hesitate to fucking save a human life.
Right.
Versus my cat. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to be in a situation like that.
For me, depends on the person, depends on the cat.
That's true, too. I love the fuck out of Bimo. Man, I've had Bimo since he was 6 weeks old, man. But
if some fucking piece of shit...
I'm a human being. I gotta... it sucks. I'm not... But okay, here's the point I'm making with that. It's not about which one you choose. That was probably a bad example. The thing is... Don't overlook your own species. Don't overlook your own species and the people around you. It's like you have less of a connection with your species, with human beings, than you do with animals. It's like don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to knock it.
But think about this. Think about this. People, every person has a chance.
People are weird with each other, man.
But in animals are subjugate to our lives because we do have opposable thumbs and we do have, a cognitive forward thinking. We have frontal lobe that drives our movement and our emotions, and so we control the world. People control the world, except for the aliens and the fourth dimensionals and stuff like that. Those that we can't see that are
they're out there.
Pulling the strings. That's another podcast, but. So at this level, people control the world, and animals are subjugate to the world that we put them in. So animals, unless you are in the wild, if you're in the wild, there's a pack of fucking wolves there, then you put yourself in a bad situation. Those animals dominate that realm.
Yeah.
Okay. But for the most part, domestic animals, pets, I think about how many animals are euthanized every day. It fucking kills me.
Really? I'm not even aware of those numbers, dude.
Oh, it's insane. It'll make you sick.
Really?
A buddy of mine, Clayton, used to work for the dog pound, and it fucked him up, man. It broke his heart so much to go to work every day, and so he got out of it, and now he does pro animal activities. But he had, he was cornered into this job he had to have and do these things he did not want to do. These poor innocent animals, they don't have a fucking choice in it, and so they are subjugate to what our will is, what makes what's convenient to us. Well, what does it say? What do they call them? They call them lesser creatures in the Bible. That man has domain over the world, all that other shit. Well,
I don't necessarily think that's true.
I mean, take it so yes, here on Earth, on the land side of things, yeah, you get a man by himself at the bottom of the ocean. Guess what? He's fucking free game to whatever's going on in there. So near here on the surface, we rule things. We don't know shit in outer space, and we don't know shit at the bottom.
But that's a relatively newer thing, right? There was a point in time where, I've seen. Well, I think I was in college when we were doing. I was taking some anthropology courses, and it's different when you look at it from the early man, who didn't have the means of defense and shelter and shit he's got now, where to be back then, it was like shit. Anything could kill you.
Yeah.
Anything could run up on you and snatch you up and kill you.
Yeah.
So there was a point in time, where man was, man was hunted. It's like
they say that's how we learn to walk upright. Is
being able to stand over the bushes and shit happened.
We stand in the tall grass and see what's going on. We came down from the trees looking for food, and we'd walk on all fours. But when you're down on all fours, there's
predators
there's a big cat out there that can smell you better than you can smell it.
Yeah.
And so the only advantage you have is your vantage point to be able to stand up and see where the grass is moving over here. Well, fuck, I need to get back up in the tree.
Yeah.
And it took 1 million or so years for that to evolve past that.
Totally what I was getting at. With that. Being tree dwellers and coming down and those. That's why these people don't understand. Yeah. That's why these opposable digits and shit are the way they are up here, because now it's important to be able to stand up straight, but you need to be able to carry shit.
Yeah.
And
using tools. Think about we're not the only one with opposable thumbs. Fucking raccoons have thumbs. There's a lot of animals that have thumbs.
Yeah. They like monkeys too. Like they've got the opposable thumbs on the feet too.
Yeah.
So you can grab shit.
Raccoons? I think they just have kind of like a cat in their back feet. I think.
Raccoons scare the fuck out of me. Yeah. Man.
They're wicked smart. They've part of their evolution is being scavengers off of people. They've understood that they can make a pretty good living off of what we leave behind, throw behind. Yeah,
dude, I saw a raccoon holding onto a tree with this side of its limbs. I know what you call them.
Yeah.
This foot on a trash can, and this one lifted the trash can all the way up. So he's between the tree, and the trash can. So he's lifting this thing up, and I walk up on him, I'm looking at him, see these muscles and shit in his back. I'm like, God damn,
they're
man,
kind of dangerous.
Thing,
Yeah,
that thing
and they're
maul the
susceptible
fuck
to
out of
shit
me
like
if they wanted
rabies
to.
and things like that. So they're kind of an in between. In the next iteration of intelligent species, when people have finally killed each other off, raccoons are probably going to be the next ones to evolve. It's going to be raccoons and dolphins, and they're going to be at war for the control of the planet.
Because we have, what did he say on the other guys? Because we have developed an apparatus of kelp, so we can breathe into the tunas coming on land to kill the lions.
I haven't seen that. What is that?
The other guys with Will Ferrell and.
I haven't seen that. Yeah.
He's like, I'm a lion and you're a tuna. He's like, well, me and my tuna friends have developed a apparatus with kelp, so we can breathe air. He's like, you don't want to deal with an 800-pound tuna.
Shit, it's 5 o'clock. I'm gonna pull the plugs, kitty cat.
Yeah. We kind of got.
So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do 2 podcasts because we've got 2 different clips going. I think I'm gonna do this part 1 and part 2.
Hell yeah,
that's kind of cool. And you've kind of inspired me to kind of branch the show out and do something different.
Well, I think it's easy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I listen to a lot of podcasts and shit at work. I
do too.
Well, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but I listen. Yeah, a lot of podcasts. A lot of these dudes who do podcasts for boxing, especially.
Really?
So
okay.
yeah, I love those podcasts, and a lot of the media outlets, ESPN, they've got dudes who do podcasts too. Mm-hmm. Aside from their show on the show, Joe Rogan, a lot of that stuff. And Teddy Atlas from boxing, he's been in boxing for years and years. I'm talking about being able to just talk to someone naturally.
Yeah.
On a podcast, and I thought for a second there were times I was like, "Oh shit, we're just live talking on this podcast, man. It's not hard. It's like
that's the funny thing about this is the show. So the rigid part of this is the music part of it. And that should be the more relaxed part. I'm trying to create a format where you're comfortable enough and loose enough to just talk. Sometimes you have to get through an hour of asking the specific questions, the rigid formalities, all that other stuff, and then hit the record button.
You can clip them too, man. I look at a lot of those Vlad TV interviews. I don't know if you watch this stuff, but Vlad's a cool dude to watch. I think
I haven't seen it.
Vlad, he's good to watch for because he's been at the ground roots of this shit, and his podcast shit is really big and it's really cool. But he'll do that interview, and that interview may be 2 hours. And he'll release part 1, part 2.
Really?
Part 3, yeah. And each clip on YouTube, millions of views, and they're all really good. He just takes that really cool interview, and if you go back and you listen to this interview, and it's like, oh, we had a point right here where we were talking about this, and I made a really good point, or Elton made a really good point.
Oh, he narrates it.
Take that, and you make that the title of that clip. So if there's other stuff caught in that we've talked about, that's fine. Or if it's clipping between little things that are consistent with what we're doing, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But the point of it, and that comes out, it comes out when you do the final editing. Yeah. It's like it culminates with that title.
Rogan does that shit, so he'll take clips from his podcast. Some people, they'll see 3 hours and 29 minutes. Like, I'm not fucking committing to that. But they might see a 6-minute clip. And, all right, I'm interested in that subject. And so that clip.
That's how I listen to Joe Rogan when I listen to him. Yeah. I listen to the clips for non-boxing. A lot of those dudes, I listen to their clips, their segments, and a lot of them they do that. Well, what they do is they go live 4 times a day, 3-4 times a day, and they go live for about 10, from 10 to 13 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
And they come back midday, 10 to 13 minutes. And they come back around 3 or so, 10 to 13 minutes. They come back a little bit later at night, 10 to 13 minutes. And then that's it.
Interesting.
And doing really good doing it, too.
I need to just leave this rig set up all the time. So if anybody comes by,
dude. You can just run it and go. Fuck yeah.
Hit the record button and talk.
I'd be down to come over here and just have a conversation with you about anything. It's like, well, this is going on. Let's talk about that. Yeah. And then I'm sure the conversation will lead somewhere else.
We've talked about doing a podcast. We used to have some just hilarious conversations on the porch. Because my porch is kind of legendary. We've had. I've been here.
I've hung out on that porch.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Dude, I've been here 16 years, and I've heard. We've heard it all. From a lot of interesting cats around here. And it's all conversations that I wished I had captured, and just listened to again, captured some of them. I've got stuff, man, Jasper was
You
over
got a
here
really
the
cool
other night.
porch too, man.
Oh,
You
thanks,
got a
dude.
cool porch for it, dude.
I spent a lot of time working on this place and trying to make, because I don't have any money. This place ain't fun. This place ain't shit. But it's my home, and it's got a lot of love and energy into it. And so I'm hoping to convey that when my friends come over.
Well, it's got, and I think that's been the case, dude. I remember coming over here many mornings, doing plasma and shit like that. Blackwell sleep over there. I come sit in here for a second, go walk over there.
Yeah.
Go, and then us coming over here and we practice over here, and we barely come over here and just eat and just maybe hang out and watch Game of Thrones and some shit.
There was a time when it wouldn't surprise me to step out on my front porch and see somebody passed out on my porch that wasn't there the night before.
Yeah.
Because kind of safe haven type of thing. It's funny world, man. Everyone needs a place to go to, I suppose. My girlfriend's, she's not as welcoming isn't the word. I guess just used to people coming and going.
Mm-hmm.
Which
is understandable too.
Yeah. It is a little weird. It is a little weird. I get it. I don't know. I'm comfortable in that zone. I'm comfortable with people showing up. The people that come around here, I trust them enough to, there's fucking shitloads of gear over here, And,
yeah. That's always been the thing that scared me about this place. But I know you got shit where you can see and you know what's going on in here. But the thing that's always scary about it is like, for instance, like when I would get off in the morning, I would come stop by before I'd go over there.
Yeah. So
I know I could just come over, and that's kind of.
I know when somebody's here. I put cameras everywhere. I built this network of cameras everywhere around here, and it's a mishmash, piecemeal thing. But it fucking works. Every time there's motion on my porch, I get an email. What's going on? And so anybody can do it. Doesn't cost shit. Everyone's got a bunch of old cell phones in their fucking top drawer. You can re-engineer these things and make them security cameras. If you just want to watch something, you want to make sure that you've got.
I'm just not a fan. It's like, man, because I've been even seeing online here lately, some of these people, and it seems like the people who get their shit stolen, it ain't bullshit.
Yeah.
It ain't like a little Squire, like a little $67 Squire. It's like a 59 Fender Deluxe type, like Strat and shit. It's like people are. I don't know, and I don't have the kind of money for someone to steal my pedal board. It's like, dude, it would take me a while to regroup from that. It's like, and I can't. It pisses me off because I can't afford to try to regroup on something like that because I need that. That's vital to what I do.
That's like taking someone's fucking tools, man.
Yeah, it's like you don't give a fuck about my pedal board. You just want to go make some money off of it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The game is dirty, and I get that, but goddamn, man, like you just fucked the shit out of me, I don't know. And that's why I got real hard feelings with that. Maybe it's because I play music, I'm a musician. It's like, man, when I see someone's shit get stolen, you never know, man. That might have been the only guitar that person had.
Brandon Mann has had more shit stolen from him than anyone I've ever met in my life. And Brandon works so fucking hard, and he finds these deals, and he'll find this amazing gear, and somebody will fucking yank it from him. It hasn't happened to him in a while, I guess, but some of the guitars Brandon's had stolen from him just makes me fucking sick to my stomach because he trusted the wrong person. He trusted the wrong person. I can't
accept that. Ooh.
So I've tried to learn from that mistake. Sorry, B. You're too trusting. I love you.
Love you too, Brandon Man. Dude. Brandon Man's really cool. What?
But I don't know, man. You got to figure out what's important. I love my place here, and I love doing this. And
I really want to come back over here and play again soon. It's been a while since I got a chance to play here.
We'll get on it. Check out this old
I know you got recording and stuff you got going on, but whenever you open it back up, dude, we're going to come play.
Check out this laptop. It still has a Hastings screensaver on it. It's like an old laptop.
Bouncing around.
Yeah.
Shit.
But it says vacant Hastings. It's an old Hastings laptop. Isn't that funny?
Shit.
I can't remember what store that came from, but yeah. I guess it's been about 5 years now. I guess I can say this.
Well, at one point, that was super cool. It's like, see how my fucking screensaver's bouncing around Hastings?
Yeah.
Letters in 3D, man.
That is kind of cool. All right, I think I'm going to wind it up. Elton, thanks again.
Thank
I
you.
love you so much, buddy.
I love you too, dude. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
I'm glad we finally got to do this. We've talked about it forever. I don't know what I just burped up. What did I eat that I can still taste?
That is quesadilla, my friend.
That's me. No, I don't know what I ate.
Thank everyone for tuning and watching.
It did not. Emerald Rocks, stay tuned. We're going to have plenty of new artists, guests.
These things are kicking in.
Yeah. I'm getting that fucking Santa Claus rosy cheek.
It's like,
that pale white guy thing.
Turn around, walk away from this old yellow city. The sun sets in the west in those pastures so pretty. The dust in this town will push you around. The wind and the rain will get gritty. Turn around, walk away from this old yellow city. The tornado alleys and coyote valleys, tumbleweeds blowing through the mud. It's a pool player's prison for general admission. They can show you the color of your blood. Turn around, walk away from this old yellow city. The puke joints, the pigs, and the Republicans pity. The cigarette smoke, the hearts that you broke. Just leave the whole damn committee. Turn around, walk away from this old yellow city.